try and get this just right. There we go. Need to find Tyler's character sheets.
Yeah, I'll find some for you. I know he's like,
Because I only know about Kyukaku.
okay. Give me.
Well, I'm not a registered user.
How dare you?
I know. Shit. Gotta look the old-fashioned way.
On her scene, he has you and probably Tao as his other most known character.
Ow.
Uh,
Tiao Laishen?
yeah.
Oh, well, that explains a lot, because I also fought him and got my ass reamed. Same
It's the
person.
same guy.
Awesome.
He had a lot. Those were
What the fuck?
probably like his two biggest ones.
I just discovered something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this character sheet from December 22nd, 2006. Ian Gilson.
Oh yeah.
That's Ark.
No.
That's his real name.
You're telling me that I'm the same guy as Ark.
Yeah, that's his real name. Unless somebody randomly accidentally used his real German name.
I don't think that's Ein's real name. Lisa, you remember what Ein's real name? Like the players? Yeah. Well, just because apparently Ian Gilson was the real name of someone who was on 259. Oh, he was on 259 too? Oh, his real name's Eric,
Okay,
by the
so
way.
it's not the same guy.
It might be the same guy because he was on 259 too.
Well, no, his real name was
He
he.
was on 552 as
He went
well.
to my wedding.
Really?
Yeah, like that's how I knew his real name because he had to give that to me so I could send him the invitation in the mail.
Interesting.
He was a big time 552er, and he helped me make 259. And he helped
Cause,
Ryan come up with the gang system for 259 initially.
yeah, because he helped Shin One come up with the whole gang system.
He said his real name's Eric. That's not accurate.
That's I have no idea. I never really knew him in person.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
So apparently Ark's name was Ian Gilson in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, fucking
Yeah.
A.
I don't know. It's weird. It could be the same guy. Maybe it's just a coincidence. I don't know.
Got me all sorts messed up.
Yeah.
I need to go through. He does Tyler have player characters on Paradigm or just the GM stuff?
Uh,
Like persons of interest or personnel?
he should have had a couple that were not NPC. Trying to remember who they were. Tyler. On Paradigm? Yeah. Yeah, but those are all NPCs. He had like, oh yeah, he had a separate account for a couple like Connor and um Cow, but most of them he kind of played them as NPCs too.
I mean, that's fair. Like, just
Yeah, but it's because he GM'd all the time.
yeah.
The new board he had like Josh, his adult character or senior character. It's Silas. Silas was probably his main character on the time skip paradigm.
That's fair.
Um,
Looks like most of his characters might have been moved to Lost and Found.
maybe quickly check
I'm not
those people.
seeing too many.
Those because like early on, yeah, he did all the GMing, so I don't know if he had any real player characters.
Yeah. Got Skylar Scott. Is that one of his?
Yeah, actually, but he didn't like that one.
You didn't like that one? So when you make a character and you're like, all right, good concept, let's try it out, and then they end up being like just the worst.
He had Matt, that one. Sorry, Lisa's just trying to remember too.
I noticed there's not a, or well, I'm not one that I can find. It's a Kyukaku.
Probably uh in like NPC instead, like persons of interest or something.
All right, person's the stud. Frankie Stosky. Wow.
Okay, so that yeah, that's
David
that was an
Alcott.
NPC. Or Paradigm.
I remember.
Yeah, there's Director Scott.
Yeah, got director Scott. That's fine.
Um, then get a different fucking area.
I need to plug my phone in so I can have chat open.
Tau again.
100%.
Get a chthonic character.
Ooh.
That helps.
Well, it's just stuff that we're going to be talking about. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if I would prefer more of his player side or more of his admin side, because we really haven't had much admin talk yet.
Yeah. If you wanna like do like maybe his Kyukaku and then maybe fucking Silas, because that's probably the one that he did the most as a player on Paradigm.
Yeah. And we'll hit the others.
Yeah.
Good. I think I'm still going to bring up Tao.
Yep. I'm sure because I think that's his first arc he did anyway.
Oh, right on. All right. and give him an opportunity to plug at the end or the beginning, either way, I don't care, for his fighting, because that's important.
Always gotta let him plug. Sugar free. If he wants to. I don't know.
Does he have a fight coming up?
He just finished one that I know of.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I don't know if he has another one lined up already.
This one's gonna be bass backwards.
So you starting on her scene again, or
Yeah, we gotta go oldest to
yeah,
newest, I think. Wow, Tao is older than Kyukaku?
yep.
I guess we're starting with fucking Gao Shin then.
Well, I mean, like in terms of age, yes. It's fucking.
Oh, did he
He
post?
was he was supposedly around on her scene longer.
Yeah. We had like the Tao's bio was posted in 2006, and then Kyukaku's was 2008.
Yeah, because he wasn't sure he was gonna bring Kyukaku over
Oh.
from Baron right away.
Oh, okay. All right. So rearrange that because we don't have Varan Academy anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't have 552 anymore for the same reasons. It's the same fucking admin.
Oh God, unfortunate.
Though I guess I could tell the story of actually why 552 got closed down in this pregame.
Oh, there you go.
So basically, um, around 2007, I started getting active on the Pro Boards support forum.
Hmm.
I started answering questions and helping out, and the mods really appreciated it. And I started getting in with the mods of Pro Boards, and I had one on my Skype. Uh, Things that I read on 552 that kind of triggered me at the time was like
Hmm.
the multiple depictions of like sexual assault and stuff that were written out in long posts, and that's obviously against the terms of service.
Oh yeah.
And sites like 552, Varen, and all that, they skirt the edge of the terms of service most of the time
Oh yeah.
because like the violence and the blood and all that other stuff is supposed to be PG-13, but we're pretty
Pretty
ultra.
much not.
Yeah, we're pretty ultra violent, and there's more than a few f bombs.
Yeah.
And Pro Board support knows 100% that's what goes on. But they're okay with it as long as we have those PG-13 rules where you have to take it to DMs or fade to black or whatnot.
Yeah.
And I was up in arms, just pissed off. I gave the admin of 552 at that time a warning. It's like you need to take this shit down
Yeah.
because it's inappropriate. And they didn't take my threats seriously, so I went straight to one of the Pro Boards admins that I knew, and I was like, "Look, man, this shit's going on, and I can't stand that." And he went, "Really?" Next thing I know, 552 is shut down for terms of service.
That's weird. Like how instantly that happened.
Oh yeah, it was within 5 minutes of me telling him.
That's. Did he like report himself?
What do you mean?
Like if it's shut down for terms of service, doesn't that usually mean like someone reported him and then rewards comes in and shuts it down?
Yeah, Pro Boards put a shutdown notice on it, and it's easy to turn over a terms of service shutdown. You just go to the support forum and be like, "Hey, we didn't know. We can delete it and fix it." And then generally, if you have a large enough forum, which 552 at the time was large enough, they'll unlock it for moderators. They'll put it in like a forced maintenance mode,
Okay.
and then you can go through and delete all the things that they found, which happened on 259 eventually when I was in Afghanistan, I think. Or no, I was in basic training.
Hmm.
So I went in and I deleted everything. So we could have had 552 back pretty easy, but the admins were like, "Oh, I didn't know," and I guess they went into depression and just didn't get it back.
Oh, well, that's too bad.
Also, yes, chat, we get one F bomb with a PG-13 rating, but as some people are very proud of using the F word as every other word in a speech, when I brought up that I thought they were somebody else, their secret identity. Specifically, yeah, Bishop, that one time, that's specifically what I was talking about.
God damn.
Yeah, he was so proud of having his character drop the F bomb like 27 times. Yeah, it was a great post.
And you blew his cover.
Yeah, well, like he was doing this radio show or something, and I invaded the thread, requested a song, and then while the song was playing and nobody could hear us over the PA system, I threatened to beat his ass. Yeah, the text got bigger and bigger with each F word. Like it was a good enough strategy that even threw Leon off of like maybe the guy who told me you were who you say you are was wrong, but on the off chance that he was right, because this guy never lies, I'm still gonna tear your ass a new hole, and he stopped posting.
I heard he was pretty good.
Bishop was
I
fun.
never got to fight him myself, but
Oh yeah, Matthew was 100% right, and I knew that out of character. Everybody knew it out of character, but I had to prove it in character. And the way Leon was, you associate with them, and he will fucking ruin you. Oh, is that what happened? Yeah, I didn't know the context of how Matthew knew what he knew. I just knew that, or I just knew what Matthew had said, and they were just trying to kidnap all the females. I mean, that's a reasonable reason to kill a bird, I would suspect.
seems fair to me.
And peck your eyes out, kill the bird. Simple.
Yeah. Let it land in your hand and then crush it.
I mean, yeah. At least it was in characterly, and not the what was it, Colossi versus ROB big fight where everybody was bringing their NPC animals and stuff and getting pissy.
Like a big Pokemon fight.
Basic, like uh, I can't remember what animal showed up first, but I think somebody ran it over with a motorcycle in their intro. Yeah, Fox was War, Bishop was Sloth. Uh, the other one that we don't name anymore was Lust. Uh, God, who else was there? Like the rest pretty much abandoned it. Well, I guess I should strike while the iron's hot and send out my Twitch URLs to the Discords.
Just in case.
Yeah, just in case. People don't get the notifications until 2 hours after I'm done streaming.
Yeah.
Like, oh, thanks. I could kind of use you on here when it's live, but
It is what it
Oh
Jeez.
yeah, Maharo was one of them. Ark was not involved as a sin, but he got involved when Leon started his campaign to destroy them. Uh, he kind of stood on the sidelines to make sure everyone followed the rules that were set up for the fights.
Yeah.
Like Leon challenged, called them out like publicly, uh, and Bishop showed up and fought Ark, and Leon challenged Fox. No, Faust was death, but Faust flaked. Yeah. Like I think reading the fight between Bishop and Ark was the first time I considered Bishop good at fighting or fight RP. Because I'd never seen it before, and his name was always White as a
Yep.
pillar or something, and I was like, no, I don't know. Doesn't
I
have very
remember
many.
him doing that all the time.
Doesn't have very many posts, and stats are kind of mediocre. I don't know. And then I watched him fight Ark, and I was like, oh okay, he might be fun to fight later. But I was busy with Fox. We were having a no items fight, and Ark was watching the items, and I think Bishop was just fucking with Ark for no reason.
Oh yeah.
I don't think even Bishop thought he could beat Ark with his stats, because it wasn't a statless fight. I think he was just testing the waters on if Ark really cared about the items or not.
I'm sad I never got to fight him.
Bishop,
Yeah.
yeah, I had the opportunity to fight him, but he flaked.
I remember him being very busy, like all the time.
Yeah, we called it the curse of the pillar system. As soon as you can be the most active person, but as soon as you got the captain title or a pillar ship, you immediately didn't have time to play.
Yeah. That's how it works.
Yeah, you're the only one of us that are still around that fought him, I think. Right. I think Fox started taking me seriously after our initial contact when they kidnapped Athalia, because he like
Fair.
shoulder tackled Leon and Leon drove his head into the dirt and left him planted there while he chased after a ice cream truck. Had my own little fox plant.
Damn it, Tyler, you said he would be here in 20 minutes. It's been 20
It's
minutes.
all good. Yeah, their vehicle of choice was an ice cream truck,
Nice.
as the Four Horsemen and Seven Deadly Sins.
And now I have to come up with a whole new concept.
Yeah, their mobile kidnapping and sexual assault hideout.
It was pretty lame. At least on her scene, we only took one.
Did y'all have or ever have any issues with like, I don't know, flaky mods where you could get away with something because you knew nobody was watching?
Um, on her scene, no, because we had so much staff. and they always made sure that we had staff on it every hour of the day, basically, until like the very end when it was dying.
Ah,
Paradigm, we were usually pretty good at like scanning things and then just being like, yeah, this thread's fine, this one's not, whatever.
yeah.
That's because I read everything.
Eh, Man after my own heart. What about Varen? I know you guys had
Varen,
fucking Maya, so
yeah, Varen. Don't think there was. I think it was still there was a decent amount of staff because we basically took everyone who was staff and made her scene.
right on.
Because I don't remember people getting away with a lot, honestly. Like someone would do shit and then they just get shut down.
Oh man, I remember. I guess Prime 552 Chaos. There was just Bonk. There was
I
no
hear
other
good things
mod.
about Bach.
Yeah, right. There was no other mod. There was no other helper or no GMs. Just him, and he logged in once a week to like I don't know talk to somebody, and then he'd bounce.
Oh,
So 552 was full chaos. Like everyone who played on 552 was an old B would kind of manage the what you can and can't do. But then you'd have some
okay.
people that were like mid range that were like, why? Who cares? We'll just do what we want. And then they'll infect the noobs with that attitude, and then it just and then Bonk would see it eventually, I guess, and he'd be like, "Oh no, fuck, shut that down."
Yeah, I think her scene was like the opposite. It was like almost too controlling, I think. Like compared to now, like
I remember getting approved on Varen was like the most difficult thing I had ever done at the time.
oh god, yeah.
I think that's the most I ever modified a bio. To this day, that's got to be the most I've ever modified a bio. Like even when I was trying to join Paradigm and I had to modify it like twice, that was still reasonable compared to what I had to do with Varen.
Uh, Varen and by extension Piercing had very strict guidelines on your bio.
Mm-hmm.
Paradigm, uh, we were pretty lenient. Like as long as you're not like straight out of a fucking anime, I'm Monkey D. Luffy, then it's fine. We had someone who was trying to be fucking Luffy.
Oh, I was a little salty about the way Leon died.
Yeah, I still don't understand why that happened.
Like he was a destined to die character anyway,
Yeah,
which I'm fully cool with. You know, he died early, whatever. But I just would have preferred a better explanation.
yeah. Like I was surprised because like the the whole like Dane squad kind of thing. They were supposed to be the good guys,
Yeah,
and like
popped
they
in,
went in.
gave Leon an
Yeah,
order, and Leon was like, "Oh well, okay." And then they shot him 3 times in the chest, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
yeah. Like I don't understand.
He was going to help. I don't know why you did this. Oh, he got nervous because your character was acting normal. It says in his profile that he acts normal in crazy situations. That's his thing.
Yeah,
Whatever. He's dead. That's okay.
it's yeah. I don't know. I there were some things that I personally did not like, but
I
we
feel
just had to kind of roll along with it.
yeah.
And,
I feel like it might have been a communication issue because beforehand I had like I guess 3 of my characters. I was like, yeah, we need character death for good story. You can kill my characters, whatever.
yeah,
But like I was a leading thing in that storyline, and it,
yeah. And then it just
it
was
just
like,
fucking
nope.
ended. Oh, okay.
Honestly, that was one of my least favorite arcs. Was the whole on the run from the government part.
Yeah, force field. Rufio. Rufio was killed by the Dane squad, but he went rogue, so it makes sense. And he was being played by Hyperion, which was a good storyline. Excellent storyline.
Yeah, I did like Hyperion.
Yeah, the Dane squad killed a lot of my characters.
That's kind of true. I always threaten to kill people and then
You know what? That's legit. It
don't.
is always Tex Ryan killing my characters.
Tyler always wanted to kill people and then didn't.
I think he killed one of my characters. Arion, Frog Legs,
Oh yeah. Yep.
froze him.
With Sebastian.
Mm-hmm.
But that's because Tyler actively looked for reasons to kill people.
Well, I saw that it was really tense moment, and there were a lot of bad guys, and I didn't want to play Arion anymore. So I messaged Tyler. I was like, "You can kill Arion if you want," and he was like, "Really?"
He's like, hell yeah.
And he made the death dramatic, which I was like, "Ah, yes, perfect."
Yeah. No, he was pretty good about making deaths seem epic and interesting.
Oh yeah, people being nervous about Jim dying near Sebastian.
But then if Sebastian walks away, doesn't he just come back to life?
Well, there's always a chance.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I
Oh yeah,
forgot about that.
Sebastian would learn the power by seeing it.
Yeah, but then he fucking came back anyway and got killed again.
The last time I interacted with Sebastian, it was Soren who transformed into a werewolf and started bitch slapping him, and he ran away.
Oh,
So
apparently that's all you need to do.
I guess that means Sebastian could turn into a werewolf at one point.
I bet he could. He never did, but I bet he could. Well, I see a young man online.
Oh. Soren was a nervous wreck. Like for an EMT, he was really like, I am not for this world.
I remember him giving off some interesting vibes around here.
He could smell.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, there he is.
hey,
Well, hello. Can you hear me?
we can.
I hear you.
All right, I figured out how to use a computer.
Hey,
Finally, after all these years.
I'm still working on it, but
No more phone posting.
I hired a little immigrant to come help me out.
right on.
Am I allowed to say those things?
Oh yeah.
You can say whatever the fuck you want.
Perfect. You know I would anyway.
Oh,
Ryan
God.
says it's weird hearing your voice again.
Oh yeah? It's been a while, I guess.
Yeah, it has
Been a
been a
little
while.
A little bit.
All right, so the
Years and
podcast,
years.
yeah, right. The podcast is out of in character. This is the third episode. I've brought Adam Painkiller back from his interview
Hello, by popular demand.
to
Demand of none.
co-host the interview with Tyler Kyukaku.
That's me.
That is you. Because he knows more about you than I do, but you are still an important historical figure to this community.
More of like a George Washington or like an Abraham Lincoln?
That's yet to be decided. We'll figure that out during the interview.
Donald Trump it is.
Oh shit. All right. Well,
Oh, fuck.
make roleplay great again. Let's get into this.
I've tried. The liberal left keeps shutting me down.
Because you stopped posting, man.
Oh,
That's not my fault. That's a liberal left.
damn. We're already in it. All right. Adam, since you know Tyler the most, why don't you go ahead and start us off with your question?
He knows me biblically.
Oh no.
Oh, I thought we were doing like you gotta take us through this fucking character first,
Oh,
and then we ask.
you want to hit a character first? Well, all right. We'll start with your Tyler D. Scott Kyukaku / Q character. I will.
Ugh.
Do you need me to link you to the Here Scene profile, or are you okay?
Well, no, I remember it mostly because it's actually probably one of the worst characters, seeing as it was my first one, based off of me, like most people's first characters.
Exactly. So you want to walk us through Kyukaku?
So he was kind of my attempt at a normal guy, the typical shonen hero. Coming to it, tried to do the right thing. Are we talking her scene?
Yeah, we're talking her scene right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So he's kind of he started off as kind of like the annoying good guy, not really on purpose, just because I was 15 and never role played before. But then, as it went on and some of the older guys left and Adam and I got better with our writing and kind of controlling the story on the board, he kind of became one of the consummate good guys. And I still think that helped led to the death of her scene is because he was too good at being school captain.
So it was a detriment to the drama.
Yeah, see, he shut down the drama too early, too easily,
That makes sense.
Uh-huh.
I remember fighting you, and you shut me down pretty hard, pretty quick. So
yeah, that's because I also probably cheated when I look back.
it felt a little power gamey, but I was still new to the whole no stats thing, so I was cool with it.
I was new to all of it, and I just liked winning. So
I have to admit, Tyler, I didn't really see you power game until the very end of her scene when we had our tournament fight.
was that Chow and PK?
Yeah. When we were both just so determined to win that it was just the shittiest fight.
It wasn't until it was pointed out to me. It was either by Tex Ryan or maybe Sternbot. Can't remember which one, but it was like how we basically countered each other like maybe 25 times in the length of a takedown.
Yeah.
And to me, at the time, I was just thinking about this today because I don't know why, but this one came up to me too. As at the time, it's like, well, if you were going to do this, I would do this. But if I did this, then you would actually do that. And then so to me at the time, it made sense. But looking back at it, obviously the better writing would have been just got taken down,
Yeah.
But it is what it is at this point. So
Yeah.
I consider it a highlight.
A highlight of the worst.
I mean,
I don't know. I just think that my acrobatic skills were just so impressive that you couldn't take me down within 25 posts.
damn.
Buddy, it was a fucking like rock bottom
I know, but
on
Hey,
a card.
Adam.
I thought it was your forehead grab that you tried to slam my head or something. The typical PK move.
Full fake news at this point.
So it is fake news. You're right. Let me start it again.
Oh god.
The Rylander says, but which of you two were on the bottom at rock bottom?
Well, if you ask Adam from the old days, he was always the power bottom.
Power bottom.
Is that misquoted, Adam?
I would never say I'm the bottom since you never beat me, but
you would always say power bottom, though.
That's true. Like a jackhammer.
Wait, hold on. How are you talking about Ryan? Where is he?
He is in the Twitch chat.
See, all right, I'm out. No, too much computering.
You've gone too far. He can't handle that technology.
Can't handle that technology.
No, it's a ploy. Who's the ploy?
Yeah.
You guys learn it?
So the Chinese are in control.
It's true. Everything's a Russian Fly too.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That was
Uh, Adam, you want to start with your first question?
Okay, so like going back to how you love fighting,
You're
like
gonna want to mute that, Tyler.
obviously,
I do like fighting.
because like
Oh, there's one.
you fight in real life, you like fighting on the boards and stuff like that. What kind of made you decide to like do role play fighting, like writing it out?
I randomly stumbled onto Jin through actual Flash animation. So I liked the anime at the time, and then I got into Jin, which was the shit at the time. On Newgrounds, I believe. And then,
Yep.
and I mean, I always liked video games and stuff. I never had any like role playing experience before that. Like I never played D&D at the time or anything like that. But it sounded interesting to me, and I always liked reading. I liked manga, like comics, and I like novels, action novels. So to me, like a martial arts one, I thought I'd give it a try, and I actually signed on one time, probably like 6 months prior, and kind of checked it out, and then left, and then finished the Jin series, and came back, and then just kind of stuck with it. So
Okay.
That
is that a
reminds,
answer?
yeah, that kind of reminds me of what I did too. Um, I had just discovered Newgrounds from like E-Bombs World and stuff like that,
Nice.
and I saw the Shin animation on there, and I was like, for the first time ever, I'm gonna go to this website for Life Point One, and I saw RPB forums. I was like, what the hell is an RPB?
That's pretty much yeah.
And I went and I looked at both of them, and I saw stats, and I liked RPGs and stuff like that. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna join the stat board. But I checked it out like months before I actually joined it, and there was some big storyline going on that I really enjoyed. And I was like, I'm gonna join, and that storyline ended. Well, fuck.
I
I was
think
like, oh well, fuck that.
I think I think when I signed on, I had just missed one of the biggest storylines. I think that was the one with like who, who was it that did the war? Was it Bishop's War?
No,
I
you
don't.
joined after me.
I know, but didn't you miss that too, or did you? Were you?
Yeah, I joined right after the Evil 5 thing with like Dane versus Marcus and
Oh yes,
shit like that.
everyone said that was pretty cool.
That's hilarious because the first time I signed on, the first 552 Reform War had just ended, and that was the storyline I wanted to be part of.
Hmm.
Damn, gotta
I
make
just,
our own.
I just wanted to get involved in every storyline, and people posted too slow.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Man, I hated the way you posted at the start. I hated it so much.
You gotta do first person. Is that why?
Yeah,
Or?
that whole first person stuff, and I was like, please just change, be normal.
I think I did after like my third and fourth thread.
Yeah, it was really fast, honestly.
I think it's from you complaining. Yeah.
uh,
I don't complain to you.
I know you
Complain
complain, but
about you.
and then I hear about it. That's our friendship right there.
Exactly.
Perfect. Just perfect.
Reading this bio that you linked,
Yeah.
unnecessary information.
Yes.
Gotta gotta get that word count in.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Leon Lior is gonna come for us.
The other
Leon
Leon.
Lord?
Good old John. He was always the
Oh yeah.
bio guy. He was the one
Like
that
who?
he didn't approve my bio like 4 times because it wasn't long enough or grammar or something. I was like, I'll play a game, dude. Maybe.
Yeah, I remember trying to get approved the first time, uh, and I think it was a mixture of Leon Lore and one other person who kept saying it's like we need more detail here. Uh, your personality is too vague. Uh, all sorts of other stuff. And I was like, okay, how about now? And they're, nope, still not good enough. Oh shit.
And see, then
I,
I feel like when it went to other boards and we that required less information or I tried less on my bio, I felt like those characters was played way better. Felt like I didn't write myself into a box.
Yeah, and like the Rylander says, well, yeah, the only way to know you are a good RPer is to write a huge post and or bio.
That's true.
man, I remember when they would have you do like you had to have at least 3 paragraphs for your appearance, and now we're just like, hey, here's a
Wow.
picture.
Oh yeah, for the bios.
Yeah,
That's just like the post. It's like the first paragraph of everyone's post was just extreme detail of what they were wearing.
yep.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm wearing jeans with a slight bulge right here.
Oh
It's
yeah,
frayed at the bottom, but not too frayed that it reveals anything.
and I have huge hands.
Just gigantic, yeah. Full of just similes and metaphors. Where later on in RP it was he's a big dude.
Yeah, exactly. Like he works out.
That's right. Much
Here's a
detail. Yeah,
smiley
detail out,
face. That's my post.
yeah. You have done that. You have
I know.
So I have a question for you, Tyler.
I'll allow it.
What what is your earliest like highlighted memory? What's the earliest thing you can remember doing that you uh decided this is what I want to do? I want to RP.
It was actually pretty early on. Was like my first highlight. I'd say it didn't take me too long. It's probably like my fourth thread, maybe. My second fight, and that was when I got gang beat by Eric and Painkiller. It was I was sticking my character was sticking his nose into some high level gang stuff from Sternbot, and instead of showing up because I did the old fashioned way of contacting people where you just throw up a post and tag them in it without asking if they want to do it.
Right.
And he didn't want to RP with a newbie, so he sent some of his lackeys to come and they gang beat me. I got a spear thrown in my face, and then after they beat me up, they came over and they broke my arm and they left me. And I was like, "Hey, that was fun."
Yeah, glutton for punishment. Love it.
Why is that a highlight?
Because it was the first like good story. If you get gang beat, you know you're doing something right.
Right.
You're also not wrong, but you're doing something right.
Oh
It was
lord.
the first like real, I guess, forward movement into some sort of storyline. Before that, it was
Yeah.
random fights with Kay, or like showing up and then people would stop posting,
Mm-hmm.
or just like the random socials of people just trying to do like goofy anime stuff, and then everyone stops posting again. So, so it was the first just segue into an actual storyline, and then from there, that's what started the rivalry between Painkiller and Kyukaku.
Yeah, right
That's
on.
true.
Yeah,
It does have
and that led to RP and more, which led us to, in my opinion, the best Varen posts ever, which were the Trent and Q ones, plots. So,
Oh.
So what would your advice be for any new person jumping into something that's been going on for a while?
um, don't try too hard, I guess. You know, like I did it, and I'm sure you guys did, and probably everyone does it, where they want to be the guy. I
Yeah.
want to be the hero, or I want to do this or that. I want to be super awesome right off the bat. Whereas, it takes a little bit to get in with communities because that's really what it is. It's not a random RP. And if you just kind of play what I think is more of a role filler, is kind of what I learned from being more like the game master for other boards. I just fill the role. You make it more fun for everybody else. So if everyone else is trying to be the hero, well, maybe I'll be a loser, and I actually have more fun playing the loser, and people have more fun playing with me because it's something different. So
That's good advice.
And then whatever people, if people have critiques and they don't like your first person writing, you tell them to sit on it.
And then
But
you change it anyway.
change it anyway. That's right. You tell them that you won't do it and then do it later and claim it was your own idea.
So we're gonna move into Tiao Lai Shin. Where was the inspiration for this one at?
Um, he actually started off super basic. So I think this is the second bio I created of his. So yeah, he was even. Or no, maybe this is the first one.
You had him first before you brought Kyukaku over.
I did. So when
You were pretending to be someone else.
no, when we moved over to her scene, like before Varen actually closed, like people were saying that they were going to be starting this board because of all that random Varen drama. Um, so I still had Q over there, but then I was asked if I wanted to be one of the pillars for Ryan. I was like, yeah, sure, that sounds awesome. So then I thought I would make the typical second in command thug, like a hothead, really good at fighting, but that's about it. Like in order to get to the big boss, you got to get past me type thing. So I originally wrote him really simple, just athletic and hot-headed and popular is really what it was. And then it as he played out, he actually just kind of changed. And so the Chow was really the first character that I created that um, kind of took its own life, I guess. And kind of what I was saying earlier, like I kept it a little bit more simple instead of trying to be this and that. I just my goal was to be a good second in command. That was really it. And I'm pretty sure Tao stuck out a lot more than Darren Blaine or any of the other pillars at the time. He was the one who was more involved in all the threads, and I think he was probably my most well-known character across the boards.
Yeah, I didn't get to fight Tao until uh, I brought over a secret character. Trying out here scene again
So you're
after.
a guy?
Say again.
Was he a jiu-jitsu guy?
Yeah, he was a jujitsu guy.
That's what I thought I remember. And I
Uh,
remember that fight too, where you armbarred me, and I think I cheated again. But at the time, I didn't understand jujitsu. I'm like, no, I'm just gonna pick you up. And you're like, okay.
yeah, I mean, I was just that's just kind of my way though. Like, just roll with it. It's more fun. I hate arguing when it comes to like fighting and stuff like that. Let's just get it done. Let's tell the story, have fun.
That's what I like now. Before I used to be way more competitive. It was mostly Adam's fault, but
Ever.
Well, I think it was really because of how much ass I got beat up so much on 552 because I didn't argue with anybody. But I had the most fun, and at one point I had super high stats for no reason because people would just kick my ass with no argument. And so people started just losing to me after one or two hits. And I was so used to fighting people that had like double my stats that my character would just keep getting up. And they're like, okay, you know what? You're scary. I lose. I was like, oh, okay, cool. And that was my story wise way of doing things. And I came over to here scene again. I was like, I'm better now. I've been doing this for 2 years. Maybe I can keep up with these guys. And then you fucking wrecked me with Tiao. And I was like,
that,
well, maybe not.
that is one of the no. That is one of the fights though that I wish I would have wrote a little bit differently now, knowing what I know now, because it's really hard. And I learned this later on too when I actually know jujitsu of trying to RP jujitsu. It's hard for people who don't know to any sort of submissions. Like it's hard for people to not understand
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
they've never done it before. Um, so I wish I would have RP'd that a little bit differently, at least taking a little bit more damage in that one because I went back and looked at that one maybe probably like I don't know, it's probably like 5 or so years ago now. Just reminiscing and your writing was really good with that guy. So I wish we would have done a little bit more with it.
Huh, appreciate that. Uh, Adam, you got a question?
Yeah, I guess like on kind of the topic of different techniques and stuff, like how many different techniques and like fighting styles did you know before writing like Tao's bio? Like, did you know any kung fu whatsoever? Or?
I did actually. So my background was I grew up doing karate since I was 4, and that was obviously inspiration between Kyukaku. But when I was about 15, I started doing some Northern Shaolin Kung Fu, specifically Tiger style. So I only had that for about a year and a half. But I understood, enough of it where I was able to flesh out Chow style, where I think I even wrote him as Northern Shaolin, but I pretty much only made him use the tiger. I think I wrote him being able to do like a lot of the 5 basic animals, but pretty much only did tiger with him. And kind of stole that the nickname came. I think his nickname, the Tiger of Kursine, actually came from RP. I don't think he started with that
Oh, okay.
because I don't see it in his bio.
Yeah, I don't
And
see it either.
not in this one.
I think, yeah, this was his first one. I think so. I think, yeah, I think that actually came from him doing Tiger style and just busting up people early on. So,
That's pretty cool. I like the nicknames and titles that we used to earn through RP.
yeah. So that's why I have a special like for Tiao because he was the first character that I felt like actually clicked. I had some good storylines with Q, but it was hard because, or looking back at it, because it was like kind of me, kind of not. So then he became hard to RP and even harder to RP later on.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, Tiao's a little bit different. He started basic and kind of fleshed himself out. He's had some terrible storylines too, but he's him up, so.
So
Terrible storyline.
Most of them that you were part of, so
Oh, okay.
you're part of all my storylines.
so I don't have access to well I do. I just couldn't find anything. You were on Chula Vista, weren't you?
I was on Chula Vista. I believe that was really short lived, wasn't it? Didn't that only go like 2, 3 months?
Yeah, it only went for like 3 months.
Because I was there from the beginning, and I believe I had Tiao over there too.
Yeah,
And oh, and that's where I introduced Sam. Is that right, Adam?
On Chula Vista, yeah.
Yes, yeah. So then I started Sam on that one too.
That's where you teamed up with Ari
Yeah.
shots fired.
to make the Dragon Dynasty.
Uh, yeah.
Yeah, I had
A good thing in theory.
I had the military school kid John Strike on Chula Vista. I had 3 threads, and one of them I fought a Fano. Uh,
Oh, Rick.
yeah, I won that fight, and then you guys started talking about a tournament or something for going into superpower stuff.
Yeah.
But something happened on 259 around the same time, so I had to dip.
Everything dipped during that tournament, I'm pretty sure. So.
Yeah, it just died.
I had so Chula Vista had some great ideas, right? And I
Yeah.
think some people had some great characters too, and that's where it was kind of. I was happy to turn that into the paradigm because you, John Strike, was probably my favorite character of yours that you brought over to Paradigm also.
He was fun. I liked him.
Because again, he started off kind of simple, right? And then he was essentially Terminator, so I liked it.
Yeah. Give me an order so I can do something was basically every thread.
What is tears? What is sadness? That was Adam's favorite quote of.
It made me laugh so much. What are these leaking from my eyes?
Yeah.
It was a very anime moment.
It was super anime. Yeah, wrist rolling it does intensify. He did that a lot. I didn't know what else to say at some points in threads, so I just have him like move awkwardly.
That's what everyone does.
And scratch couldn't scratch the back of his head or anything. He was too disciplined for that. He's just gonna stand still and roll his wrist.
Adjust your gloves.
Right. I wish he wore gloves. That would have been easier. So you transitioned from say Varen in here scene with the statless RP to the semi stats of Chula with the letter grades.
Yeah,
Was that
actually,
was that an adjustment for you, or was that
it was
more of
definitely
a
an adjustment, but it was a lot easier for me to manage. And I've even tried to bring that back a couple times for other things.
hmm,
When everyone always tells me that there's better ways, but I always liked it because I get lost in the stats and the numbers, and for me that was always just a turn off to RP. And it's a little different now that I do like D&D with my brothers and stuff.
yeah?
So like I have a better understanding of it. But to me, like it was hard to bring in for people. I knew it was hard to be a new character in a stat board because you just have to get your butt kicked forever, and then usually people will lose their interest. So you end up being with the same people.
Oh yeah, yeah. I had 25 losses before I even got a draw.
And most people won't stay, just getting beat up.
Yeah,
Because I remember I even tried stat boards after doing it, and I felt that there was a couple, and I don't even remember who, but there was a couple ones that were like terrible writing, but they had 3 times the stats that I did, so I had to lose. So
right. Yeah,
to me, that was frustrating, like feeling like I was, the better fighter at the time, wanting to come in and do something a little bit more. But I
yeah.
understand,
And that's a big like I guess state of mind for the two different sites, and why they didn't mesh too well when somebody started on a stat site or somebody started on a RP only site, where in the RP only site you just had to get better to improve,
yeah.
and on the stat site you didn't have to improve. You could stay just as bad as you were, uh, but increase your stats. Um, and
But still,
a lot of the time on the stats board, people would just of like noobs that started at the same time, so the stats were around the same, and they would just fight between themselves, get good that way. Which,
that sounds kind of familiar, Adam.
yeah, sometimes it would work, sometimes it wouldn't.
What do you mean?
But my dumbass on 552 would just be like, "Oh man, you have the highest stats on the board. You gonna fight me?" Like, you just
There's
joined.
more fun to that story too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Fun for you, at least you're like fighting the big dog. But
I always went after the big dog, and it always ended ugly.
probably built you a lot of story.
Yeah,
Honestly.
yeah, I had a lot of ends for anyone's story really, because it'd be like, oh, my character fought that dude. I remember he like threw me out a window and I was paralyzed for a whole week.
Well, and
But now you know them.
I think I've come to enjoy those or realize that I always enjoyed those stories more. Like the ones where it wasn't about you trying to win; it was the ones where you're going to lose and you're just trying to survive.
Yeah,
Type
yeah,
thing.
I had a lot of fun with those too. Which honestly, my first lost fight was my also decision to stick around and do the RP stuff. Because I think I got beat to shit with a crowbar, and because my character was still trying to fight, and the other guy was tired of finding new interesting ways to hit me with things, he just kind of lowered a car off of a jack onto my character
Jeez.
to like pin him
That is
there.
just straight murder.
Yeah, and I was like, all right, yeah, I can get into this. This is a lot of fun. And people read the thread, and I got PMs like, I'm so sorry you had to deal with that. I was like, what are you talking about? That was fun.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. That was the different mindset, and I wish I had that mindset earlier on. I didn't get it until I became more of an admin, I guess, of different boards.
yeah, right. That was Vetus who pinned me underneath a car. We fought in the. I don't remember who warned me because he was sitting outside of a auto shop for the school. Where they teach you to work on cars and shit.
Yeah,
Uh, and my character just walked up and was like, "I want to fight you." And somebody warned me immediately. It's like, you need to not go into that car shop and not fight this guy. He is trouble. And I was like, okay, whatever.
and then you fought him.
I fought him and got fucking destroyed. Uh,
That's the fun right there.
right. Rice says, I just tried to find other objectives so that I could slash or quote win. even if I lost the fight, by achieving sub-objectives to further my plot. That's a good way to look at it.
It's too many words, Ryan. Not what you're saying.
I remember I was fighting Ark one time, and he was still absurdly stronger than my character, and my character was going into the fight with broken hands. So it was a lot of grabs and knees and shit. Okay, Ryan has adjusted his saying. He said lose fight but win plot equals good.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like the caveman grunts.
Good.
Yes.
Yes. And at the end of the
I
fight,
what do you expect, Adam?
at the end of the fight, I ended up on my back and losing consciousness, but I like snatched the cigarette out of his mouth, and to me that was like a personal plot victory.
Did you smoke it after that?
I think I lost consciousness and it set my cast on fire.
Oh well, at least you had that, I guess.
At least you were warm.
Weird shit happened on 552 back in the day.
That sounds like a good thread.
I think the weirdest thing that happened on Shin 1 was you ripping off Ein's lips.
Oh god.
No, wasn't that was that her scene or was that Jinwon?
That was her scene.
Oh, is that when he had his lips sewn shut? Or
Yeah.
almost sewn shut?
And then actually I think Connor is probably my most well liked character. And because he was my parody of Adam's character.
Wow.
And you knew that. You knew that because you made Kane as a parody to Q. And I made
Did
Connor you did. Because they originally made on one of those other boards, Hargrove or something. We killed that board.
Oh yeah.
I remember Hargrove.
It was like there wasn't very many people there, and like we caused a huge fight right off the bat, and then people got mad. That's what I remember.
We killed a lot of boards.
We did kill a lot of boards, and we kind of did it on purpose. It was kind of a dick move, but
Wow! Don't say that out loud.
I don't know whose board it was. Okay,
Hey.
Liberal left.
Yeah, they won't believe this anyway.
Okay.
Fake news.
Yeah, but yeah, so you made Kane because you wanted to make someone who was just like super super good, like follow the rule book because you're making fun of Q. So then I said, all right, well then I'm going to do the same thing and do someone who's just big, strong, and stupid as hell, like Painkiller, and we made Connor. And then Connor got dumber as time went on.
He got fucking ridiculous.
You want to come around to your next question, Adam?
Fuck. Are we talking about Chula now, or?
We're anywhere in between here, scene and Chula right now.
Okay. What was your favorite fight?
That I was part of?
Yeah.
Between her scene and her scene, I guess.
Well, you can go as far back as Varen all the way to Chula at this point.
Well, so there's definitely some that have been written better than this one, but the one that I remember having the most fun was on Varen, where you had Trent come and attack Q at his apartment. I thought
that was her scene.
No, that was a Varen thread because that was the second time Q and Trent fought, but like first real time. Like Q interrupted something Trent was doing on the street. Trent ran, and then he hunted Q down later. And then I think we fought to a tie, but you woke up first, and I think that's when your big plot kicked off, where you framed him and everything.
Yeah.
That was a dark storyline too.
Adam, why is your character always like fucking other people over?
He does a lot of what?
Adam's characters seem to fuck everybody over.
He does. So this is how dark the storyline became. And Adam told me about most of it going in, but not all of it. But, he comes in, tries to kill me. We plot to a draw, but he wakes up and drags me to the hospital, right. But not because I'm hurt, but because he's framing me for molesting Dane's, so Tex Ryan's main character, his comatose sister in the hospital. So I get framed for that. So Q gets drugged, wakes up halfway with his pants down in that room. Dane, who's his best friend at the time, beats the crap out of him, and then he gets arrested and goes to jail.
Oh,
And
jeez.
then Q ends up missing the rest of Varen because of that.
Solid.
He also buried him alive. But
Oh yes, I was buried alive. But was that her scene?
that was not her scene.
That was her scene. Yes. Okay. Yeah, Varen, I was still in jail when that closed, which was my character, because there was more plot to go with that, and then I think I was still in jail. So then I think that was my reason for not bringing him over in character, at least right away at her scene.
So how many people on do you know about on Varen and Hircine who had their characters go to jail? Like, was that a common thing, or is that like a you were the only one that did it?
Not actually. You'd think it'd be more common, but I can't think of someone else who was in jail.
I can't think of any
Not
whatsoever.
everyone did evil stuff and never got caught.
So there was
Which
there
makes it interesting.
the guy that beat the shit out of me in my very first fight, Vetus. Uh, he made a gang called Reign of Blood, and there was this big gang fight at the school. Uh, Cops were called and everything. Everybody's like figuring out ways to avoid the cops and run away or hide or whatnot. And Vetus just gets caught, and he spends a legitimate long out of character time in jail, where people could visit and try and talk to him, even though he was a mute. Uh,
That's interesting because I did something similar to that, but not. But it was mostly just for the storyline reasons. But when I think about Vare and its culture, pretty much no one went to jail. I don't know what 552's like background of the school was, but I know for Varens it was like that was the worst of the worst of the country. It was pretty much most people in that school had problems with the law already. So like the police like never got involved in almost anything. I feel like that was
so
like the first time I remember.
for like the time of people writing super tragic characters, whose whole families were dead or they killed them or whatnot. 552's background culture was basically a 1368 replica where it was just delinquents out the ass. And it was, yeah, just worst of the worst for the region, I would suspect. Uh, yeah, Vetus was the only one I know of who actually went to jail for anything that was done.
I'm surprising that those are the only two characters I can think of now that have been to a jail mission.
I know Kvist was going to jail, and then Trent broke him out.
Yeah,
But that was it.
I do remember that now. That was like before the last big fight, wasn't it?
That was technically on her scene, but it was
Like a
set
pre-
in Varen.
Oh yeah, yeah.
All right, so we're gonna go into. I'm gonna give you an opportunity to defend yourself from an accusation made in the last uh, interview.
Fake news.
When the tournament that closed Chula Vista ended, uh, and then we went into Paradigm, you had one of your characters take the serum first, and they were not the winner of the tournament where the map serum was supposed to be given.
Well, I don't remember. I don't know.
It wasn't a big accusation. It was just something that I thought of just now.
Well,
It was funny
if
to me.
I want to tie it together canonically,
Right.
so technically the winner of that tournament was supposed to get it, right?
Yeah.
And I had the character Sam in there, and
But
he
lost.
and he was and he technically his storyline he did get taken after that tournament was taken. So I'd still say that he was the first one. I believe Q got what was like the first like finished serum, not the experimental one.
Okay, so Sam got the unfinished shit like Omega and all them.
Which is why he was pretty much insane and brainwashed for a while. Which was originally the plan to do with him anyway, because he was another good guy on Chula Vista. And when I got heard about the powers, my goal at the time was to make him a telepath, where he wasn't able to discern his thoughts from other people. So it would kind of make him start acting crazy because someone else was thinking it, and he was going to get really confused. It was like a half-formed idea, but then ended up just turning him into Superboy when I brought him over to Paradigm,
Right.
and he was pretty popular too. Yeah, I think that was the first big mission that everyone was pretty excited for coming out of it because it was one of those that they couldn't win, and they actually realized it, which was good, and then they all started running away. So and I think that those are actually always more fun than it sounds when you have to run away from the big bad because you can't stop it.
Right. That makes sense. So I know Adam asked you about your favorite fight. So I'm going to ask you about just your favorite moment uh, throughout all the boards. Your the key thing that you go back to all the time.
Hmm. Um, it's probably a paradigm shift moment. I feel like we had a lot of good threads on that one. Get a lot of good storylines. It's hard to nail it down to one for me.
How about a top three in no particular order?
Well, I really liked the one I just said, right? When we were first kicking off and the board was pretty big at the time. We were actually running two completely separate missions because we had such a big roster. We had like 24 people, I believe, at one time, like signing on for the night to play the game. So we would split into like two different missions, and then those missions would get split. Like we had two completely separate game masters running. Um, so I liked it like that because then obviously it was super popular, and then there was a lot going on in between. So I really like that thread with Superman. Actually, I take it back. The second thread that he appeared in, because no one knew he was Sam at the time, besides just the moderators.
Yeah.
But the second time he showed up was off of a follow up thread. And how we did our follow ups were after we did a mission, if they found a piece of information and people wanted to look into it for the next mission, they could. So a group of people, there was like 4 or 5, ended up looking into all they found was something called the Yum Yum Food Factory. So they went there just to go look around, and it turned out to be a big enemy base, which was always the plan, but I didn't expect them to just go there.
Yeah.
So it ended up being an impromptu mission at like 1 in the morning that nobody was expecting. So the next day, people signed on to find out that 4 people went into it. 3 of them got captured, and then the other one got, I think, his legs broken by Superman. And there was another one where like they showed up, they were looking around, they were like, "Oh shit!" And then it was another like Terminator moment where he kept chasing them down, and he would get one, and then they would all keep trying to get out, and then he would come smash through a wall, grab another one. He finally got to like the last guy was driving away in his car, and then I think I just flipped the car over and left him for dead, but he survived to keep the story going.
So was
So I
that
think that was fun.
was that more of your like first deep pull in going from a PvP to PvE kind of environment?
That was probably like 2 months into it, maybe a month or two into it. But yeah, that was when we're starting to catch traction because at first when I came onto Paradigm and I said, "Hey guys, we're not doing long posts. I want 1 2 liners." People lost their minds, including Adam. Crash. I don't want to do that. I hate that.
Yeah.
And then it became a lot more popular because people could see that, oh hey, you're actually able to finish a story in a couple hours rather than drag on a simple conversation for months.
I will say Paradigm shifted my
Hey,
I see, I see
my
what you did.
my view on roleplay at the time uh, when I was invited to it because I was still I was an elitist, but I was still like, this post is under one paragraph. I feel bad, you know?
And most of my starting base were the elitists. So most of the Varen Hercene guys were the elitists, where it was all long posts. So
Right.
a lot of backlash from it, but I had started another X-Men or playing on an X-Men board where it was extremely short and one-liner, so I tried to kind of merge the two
Yeah,
a little bit.
and I was still like, yeah, it was taking weeks to finish a single conversation because it wasn't just like the one conversation because people had to have like this paragraph has a sentence that where I'm going to talk to you about this conversation, and then this paragraph has where I'm going to talk to you
Yeah,
about a whole nother conversation.
yeah. The longer they want, people just end up having multiple conversations in the same conversation.
Right, and it was just asinine. Like
So,
there's no
so my favorite thing that I think that I ever did on Paradigm was really just introduce the dorms, where people had an ongoing thread, and then people would go knock on the door, talk, and then they would leave when they're done RPing for that night, and then it'd be open for another conversation.
yeah, like the paradigm really adjusted my view on RP because that was the first time where I had a thread and it ended 2 hours later and it was like 8 pages.
Yeah,
And I was like, wow, we actually got a lot of shit done with these
all,
little
all,
posts.
all posts, but you don't have to, don't need to drag out things. I can get to the point. So
Yeah.
I end up liking that, and I still I do like that still style better.
Yeah. I also still like that style. Ryan also says he still enjoys the short form more because he can get uh, things done rather than waiting months for no payoff.
Well, and that was something that I just noticed with myself, and I'm sure it's the case for a lot of people, is that like I'm really excited about the story I'm writing right now, but if it goes a week without a reply, then I don't care about it anymore,
Yeah.
or
Yes.
even if we're replying, every night for a while, but it's still a month or 2 months into it, like I want to go on to the next thing. I don't want to do this anymore. So,
Yeah, and
so but
other
short
threads
posts
have
were
gotten
great.
further.
Yeah, short posts were great. Like if we're having a conversation that like is going nowhere, we'd just be like, okay, bye, and then they would leave. But it actually has like a wrap. But that was actually I think my favorite thing um, was just my introduction of the apartment, the dorms, and we had a couple different ways of going about it, and as we tried to spice it up later on by like doing pods or like assigning people roommates to get them to RP with people they wouldn't have normally RP'd with or
Yeah.
switch things up. So I think just the structure of Paradigm is probably what I'm most proud of. Um, I think with the people that we had running it with Adam and Lisa and Ryan and both Ryans, I think it helped just yeah create like a new norm, and I think it was one of the most smooth flowing boards I've been on.
Oh yeah. Well,
So
like I pointed out in the last interview with Adam that there's 50 plus thousand more posts on Paradigm than on 259, which has been around forever.
yeah,
Which that's a huge turnout.
word count's probably like 10 times less, but
Well, we also had 4,000 more threads.
yeah. So
Like that,
uh, just get through so many more stories,
you
and
do.
I think that was a big draw of Paradigm. It's not. It was a kind of something new, a superhero take on characters people liked before, or they could create their own new characters of it. And it wasn't. It started off you know being more like a little more sci-fi, then turned into full superhero towards the end. Uh, but I think everyone kind of got something that they liked out of it. It wasn't. It was a board that nobody seemed to take themselves too seriously on.
Yeah.
There was like a revolving door of storylines too.
Yeah.
We were
Oh,
just constantly punching them
I like the way you say out. Say it again.
out.
No, you say it like a Canadian.
God damn
Oot.
it. Boot.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you talking about? Anyway, so I'm gonna have Adam ask one more question, and then we're gonna go into David Alcott.
Okay.
Oh wait, hold on. I have a question from chat. Uh, Tyler, would you prefer ninjas or magic?
Ninjas.
Ninjas.
Ninjas. Adam loves ninjas too.
They're both garbage, by the way.
Well, the two storylines that Adam doesn't like, it's because he wasn't the main character in those ones.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure I was the main character in Magic, and I got kidnapped in the Ninja one
Yeah, but John was the
for
main
my side Jack adventures again.
character. Yeah, everything was always a side Jack adventure because there was got topic. Wait, which was Magic? I don't remember which one Magic was.
Dude, fucking magic weapons with
Oh, you used to
Faustus.
like that one.
Faustus.
You like Faustus?
I
He,
like him more now.
he was supposed to be a villain, and he became your grandpa. It's gonna be. I wrote Dr. Faustus to become Doctor Doom.
But
That,
he sure wasn't.
you're supposed to be Doctor Doom, and instead he just became Nicolas Cage, your grandpa.
Perfect.
So, that was it.
Like an adopted grandpa to Jack's kids.
Yeah. It was, oh man, I don't even know how that happened. Just Jack's side adventures, just off track my old stories all the time.
Ryan says magic weapons, also the body swap, and everything with Val.
Yeah, that was the magic.
Wait,
So
body.
yeah,
No.
yeah. I do have a question. What did you prefer doing, like GMing or being a player?
I think at the time, like if time wasn't an issue, I liked GMing. I felt like I could kind of tell the stories I want, and without. But most of my stories were half-formed ideas that just let them take themselves off, So it kind of worked. It was mostly just on the adaptability, and I felt like I could keep playing new characters, and I think I just had more fun like that, you know. But I do now. I definitely like being the player more because I don't feel the responsibility of the game.
Oh, yeah, the crushing responsibility.
It is crushing responsibility because for a while it was. I don't. It was how long did Paradigm run without breaks? Like 3 years. Adam, it was like
Was it 3 years?
I think it was like a 5 year board with like two small breaks, um, with like the time skipper or whatever. But I think it ran at least 3 years straight, and that was like almost every Sunday running the game, and then another event like throughout the week in between regular posting too. So as a GM for that, it became really time consuming. I know that's pretty much what I spent most of college doing.
Yeah.
So,
Paradigm started in 2011.
yeah,
So
so
9 years ago.
damn, we're old.
Mm.
And technically, it was still running as of what last year. So
Yeah, well,
so you
2017
went
was
by,
the last move. Paradigm Academy. Then the side games started coming in. So
and
it was 6 years.
6 years, but at least 3 years, like consistently.
Yeah.
That's hardcore. So let's go into Captain David Alcott, the Imp Pimp,
Ooh,
the Hurricane, AIDS.
the hurricane AIDS. Say
The
AIDS?
Hurricane.
I did say AIDS.
Did I? Did who called him
That's
the?
one of your nicknames you gave.
Yeah, those are the nicknames.
I called him the Hurricane.
The Hurricane, yeah.
I like that.
Hey.
I'm
Going
pretty
on your next shirt.
should. It's gonna be a new move.
We're gonna buy some. We're gonna buy some Hurricane merch.
Perfect. All right, lay it on me about David.
All right, so let's walk us through David Alcott and where that came from, like that character.
He was, kind of like Tiao. He was supposed to be really one-dimensional, and I think the more I start with a one-dimensional character, just like Connor and Tiao, like they end up becoming some of my more fleshed out characters. And David was really only supposed to be a more John version of John Alcott, who was kind of the lead boy of Paradigm at the time. He was our typical American hero, um, who had the frat boy attitude. So I tried to step it up, make him a little bit different from John. So the basis was John super strong, so let's make David like super elusive. So I gave him like daredevil like reflexes and it's like a spider sense kind of. So it was hard to hit him because John was really good at hitting things. And then I wanted to make him more cocky than John was. And then I thought it would be a good story because that was at the time where they're being hunted by the government to now put him on it. So not only were they being hunted by former allies, but now we're tying it together with um, family members coming and going after each other too. So David was one of the first attempts I had at creating new characters specifically designed for specific character storylines. And then I would do it later on with some more successful, some less successful. But David kind of kept popping in and out because he ended up having more to do with more characters than I expected him to.
That's cool.
Adam probably doesn't like him.
I think he's okay.
Somewhat. Yeah.
He's all right.
He ended up, like I said, he ended up getting a lot more playtime. He was only supposed to be like a villain showing up, but he ended up getting way more fleshed out because we had Aaliyah defect to the military side, which wasn't supposed to happen.
Yeah.
When the military was supposed to go after everyone at the academy, it was supposed to be like an X-Men 2 thing. But instead, we had a couple people that no, the military is right. We'll help them hunt down everybody else, and so then I ended up having to play two sides of things. So then I ended up humanizing David more than he was supposed to, which actually ended up being better, but not what I expected.
Yeah, I've found that whenever I make an intended like antagonist that you're just supposed to fight and defeat, and that's the end of that antagonist, somebody has to ask a question, and then out of that question, the obvious answer pops up, and now this character is important, and they have feelings and motivations, and now they're a person. So now they have to be a staple in the storyline. Completely
Yeah,
unintended.
yeah, and I think that ended up fleshing characters out a lot better.
Oh yeah,
It makes them stronger characters altogether.
it really
And
does. It's a better story.
and more natural too than like when
Yeah.
you try and write someone into being the man right off the bat. So
Adam, do you have a question in this range?
So what character did you have that you feel didn't get as much spotlight or explore as much of their story as you wanted
um, that didn't like that I would have wanted to get more. That
Yeah.
didn't.
Like if you had like an NPC or something that you didn't get to use as much as you wanted to show off their story.
I guess I got two answers to that. One, and I can't even remember his name right now, but he was basically his story ended up going in too many different directions because of different people he role played with, and then I kind of got lost with him. But he was the guy that was like your guys' student teacher.
Matt?
Matt, yes, it was Matt. So I had a lot of cool plans for Matt, but then I messed him up along the way, and then it became too hard to try and recover. So then he ended up falling to the wayside. Also, another character that wasn't supposed to have a lot of depth, but ended up having some was Josh, and that was mostly because of the storylines that you were putting in with your character, Rhett. So I felt like that gave them a lot more story to work with that we never really got to use.
Yeah, for sure. With the whole Empire stuff.
Yeah, with the whole Empire, and it was cool. And for me, it gave me like a Star Wars vibe because it was like they weren't family, but like they were best friends, and one was a spy the whole time. And
Yeah.
but Rhett, and to me it was I was always wondering like Josh has a lot of potential because he's a silly, goofy guy, but he actually wants to be like good, and he's like one of those that are like silly on the surface, but actually has a lot underneath that I only got to show a couple times. Um, and at the same time, his best friend is Rhett, who also kind of hates him because he's dating the girl he loves. So there was a whole lot of drama with it without it being like overtly dramatic. It wasn't cliche, but it was all there. So
Yeah.
I that was good because we played them like three best friends when there was really a whole lot else going on. So it wasn't melodramatic, but like there, I don't know, there was just a lot of potential to keep messing with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got two questions from the chat, real quick. Um, so the first one is, who was your favorite GM character that you played and why?
Um, Favorite GM character. I guess I got to switch it over to Connor. He became the GM character, and I had the most fun with him when Seth took over Paradigm, and and then let Connor be a teacher there. So most of the characters at the time and most of the players weren't even familiar with Connor because now it wasn't a whole lot of Gen 1 players. It was a lot of people from other boards. And when when Connor came on, everyone thought they were going to have like a serious class, and then they found out that he probably is like half retarded, and and that he had no idea what they were talking about, but that they still had to listen to him. So it was fun to kind of flip that on the angle and just to play a completely stupid person again. So I liked Connor because I could pretty much do anything, and people always loved it.
Right on.
Actually, while I do love that, now that I said that, it would have been Cooney and Vlad because as
Cooney
Adam
and
played
Vlad.
Vlad, I played Cooney. Those were our those were my favorite to play because they on the big serious superhero board. Here were two extremely powerful supervillains that consisted of Bebop and Rocksteady type antics
Yeah.
and and like childhood schemes of like stealing people's panties and then trying to sell it back to them, and then getting beaten into comas by the good guys because of it. So
Stealing Halloween candy and trying to sell it.
stealing Halloween candy and trying to sell it was another one. And then they ended up having a good story arc where they actually built the smart machine, the Planet of the Apes that you started at,
Yeah.
Great.
and and that gave them some depth too to work with later on. They saw that while they were both stupid, Vlad really wasn't that bad, but Cooney was extremely bad. So
And the next question is, which of your GM characters did you hate playing but players loved?
well, I know I hated playing Q, but I don't think anyone loved him either. I never think hated him like I did. Um, yeah, but who did I hate playing that people love? I never really liked Legion Bot that much, but people always wanted more threads with him.
Was that when he was pretending to be a person?
No, that was towards the end when I tried to do something different with him. I tried to make him like Vision, but no, it was like he basically become like the den mother of Paradigm, and everyone
Oh
wanted
yeah.
like, hey, help me build this, or hey, help me make this, just because they liked the way that he was always yelling in all caps and saying hey, and it just ended up me being like I felt like the Jetsons. What's her face, Rosie. Just
Oh yeah.
I felt like her in places, like just along for socials when I didn't want to be a robot in a social to begin with. But so,
That's killer. So your last character that we're gonna go over is Silas Calloway.
one of my favorites, one of Adam's least favorite.
Is that true, Adam?
I'm not gonna deny that.
All right, walk us through
Which is
Silas.
funny because he's the son of my character.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's perfect actually.
And his dad hates him. See?
So
No, he doesn't.
walk us through Silas Calloway, son of Seth Calloway.
He's a dickhead.
Dickhead.
Uh, thinks he's smarter than everyone. Might be smarter than everyone. Um, and kind of a jerk. So I always enjoyed it. I enjoyed early Silas because he would just kind of fuck with people until like people started actually realizing he was a bad guy, and then he became really cold and stuff. And I always had fun playing with him, and I liked playing as him too because he didn't have any superpowers. He was always making things. He was like my attempt at like a Batman or like a Robin type thing. It's actually kind of a lot based off of Damian Wayne's Robin. So I actually had a lot of threads where like I was trying to invent something new, or like I would be testing people's powers to try and find out a way to beat them later on. So I like that. Adam doesn't like it because it took some social twists that he didn't like for relationship wise, which probably didn't fit the character too much at the time. But
Meh.
looking back,
It's not what was originally planned.
it's not what was originally planned. But when you start having a bunch of socials with the same character, it takes things off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, but Silas was my second worst example of that.
Before we move into final questions, do you have questions for us?
Adam, who's your most hated character of mine of all time?
Of all time,
Of all time. I want to see if I'm right.
Thanatos.
Really?
Yep.
I would have thought you would have said Alistair.
No, see, I didn't hate him as much because I got to kill him.
Oh. So why did you hate Thanatos? Because he was most people's favorite.
I hated him because the way, like, he was written. Like, I get the whole idea that he's supposed to be really manipulative, but like there were things like uh when Seth gave him the spoon, you're like, oh, he outsmarted Seth because that's how he got out and shit like that. And I was like, but Seth doesn't care.
Well, we just took the personal attack. I just took a spoon and got out. That's all right.
But I was like, it was things like that, and then like how there's some about the way he was written with like his confrontation with Dane and shit like that, where it was like, oh, he's smarter than Dane now too, and I was like, but I don't see it.
Well, he was supposed to be. So
And I mean, I get it. I get that that's what that character is supposed to be, but like
but I'm
to
not
me, I never saw it.
because I'm not smart. What do you want?
Just try hard.
Just try harder.
No,
Always have Wikipedia open.
Yeah,
that's,
just
that's
try
like
harder. Just pretend shit. That's what I did.
my stuff. That's it.
So, what would you say your inspiration was?
Oh, he didn't ask you a
He
question.
didn't ask me a question. I didn't think he had a question for me.
You just interrupted me.
I'm
My thinking-
sorry. Shit.
Okay. I guess from and I guess I would consider yours an outside view because you didn't start on Gen 1.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I guess in the RP community world, what would you think that I would be most known for?
So, as an outsider, I would suspect you would be most known for your ability to build a story.
That's a good answer.
From what from what I saw too, we have similar styles of opening a story, but wildly different uh, methods for finishing and going into the world building. Uh, and it's not a any kind of letdown for either of us that we have different styles, but it's really nice that Paradigm and you have your own uh, version and way of telling the story, and then 259 and me have our own way of telling the story,
Mhm.
but both are very interesting, and the foot work that you have to put in to really get to know what's going on in both worlds just goes to show how deep the thought process goes after it's been started.
That was a really good answer. I'm glad I asked that question.
You could just hear him getting erect.
Yeah, you can feel it. I don't know what you're pretending.
So I had two ending questions, but I'm going to give you the one that I have asked everyone so far. Uh, what would you say your inspiration was uh, early on versus what it was near the end?
Um, Inspiration, early on was a lot more anime-esque. It was what would what would be a good, what I saw in anime, how would manga stories written, how would it be? And then towards the end, I think I got away with that, and I thought of it paradigm specifically as a comic world. So then when I ran my missions, I thought, well, this is the Avengers storyline. And that's like the main thing that everyone's going to pay attention to. But that doesn't mean like Spider Man's not happening over here. So you have Adam's character doing this story, and I might be running something separate for him. So I began to think of it in like comic book issues. So you would have like intersecting stories, but also separate stories. And that way, even in my big Avengers storylines, it wasn't always the one guy being the hero. I always tried to give new people like their moment to shine,
Mm-hmm.
or even multiple times throughout that thread. Like your character might be successful here, but then the next thread or the next post, this character has a big breakthrough moment, and I think it helps make people feel more involved in the story. Um, and kept it a little bit more fresh rather than just being the one guy show or the three guy show like a lot of RPs become.
Right on. Uh,
Yeah.
Before we get to Adam's final questions, we're gonna go uh, Adam, me, Adam, and then we're gonna let you plug whatever you're doing now. But I have a question from the chat. Darth Alexis says, "Now that you don't hate stats, are you coming back to Cabal?"
Uh, I feel like I don't have the time for, and it's probably wrong, but that's what I feel like. And it's 2020, so you can't tell me my feelings are wrong.
That's a good point.
Darth Alexis, whoever you might be, I'm wondering when your avatar board is going to get moved.
Ooh,
Ooh.
ooh,
All I'm saying.
called out publicly.
Yeah.
Uh,
Lightning.
go ahead, Adam.
All right. If you had to choose like one character that's not your own, what would you say is your favorite character?
See, you know why you're asking this question.
No, I don't. I'm asking because I was asked this question.
That's true.
It's my favorite character ever, right?
Yeah.
Jack Gavins.
No.
Hey,
Thank
That's
you.
that's my favorite because when you first wrote Jack's bio, I was like, God, this character is gonna be so stupid. Because he was a crazy kid off of his meds, so I thought he was gonna be typical, like I'm gonna go psychotic and randomly have fits of rage type thing, like everyone else who would write that character. But then he just turned out to be this kid who kind of spaces out and just has a lot of trauma. So he was like a much more normalized version of crazy, and I liked it. And he was a kid who pretty much came from nothing and terrible, and he got fleshed out really well throughout the stories. And other people's stories made it not as cool later on, but as far as what you always wrote for Jack, I always thought was really good and natural. And uh, he always got into, like you said earlier, Jack's side adventures. No matter what, whatever the story was, Jack somehow got off on his own. Would always get kidnapped, and then I would actually have to humanize a lot more of my villains because now Jack is having threads with them daily. in some cases, he had a leash put on him and was walked down the street. So an actual
So
threat.
really, it's your fault
What's my fault?
that he got kidnapped and shit all the time.
No, you wanted him to get kidnapped. I think.
No.
So my other last question is, as an admin who had control and power throughout some of the communities, what were some of the harder things for you to actually do when it came to enforcing rules or uh, telling somebody no?
At the time, I liked to be the good guy. I didn't like telling people no, and Adam would pretend he was good at telling people no, but he wasn't either. So then we relied on Lisa to tell people no.
That's true.
Yeah. So that's what happened. So I wanted everyone to like me, and because I thought that was better for the board, so I let some people get away with things that would make other people more mad, and so just that typical drama. That I
Yeah.
could have been more firm on things, but it was half that I wanted everyone to like me, and the other half that I just didn't really care to a lot. So, but I think that also helped benefit sometimes too. That I wasn't too tightly wound into my own stories and rules. That I was willing to try out new things too. So, little flip of the coin.
Fair.
Right on. Adam?
I guess my last question would be, what is your favorite storyline ever?
Hmm.
I think I really liked the alternate timeline, the universe 2. And I think a
That was
lot of
pretty popular.
you didn't like it, but most people did. But I think that was voted the most popular storyline we ever read. And
I think
everyone
so.
but you, even though you should have liked it because you got so many side adventures out of it, liked it. It was fun. It was fun for me from a game running standpoint because I got to be a parody of everyone else's character and flip it. And when I was first writing them, I thought, well, I'll be the opposite to how they run. But then as I started writing more characters, I decided, well, instead of being the complete opposite, I'm going to do more like pick a moment that I thought was important in the board's history for that character. And then what if they made a different decision at that time? So, like, somewhere I had a bunch of notes like, well, if Sarius did this instead of this, she might have been like this. Or if Abby did this, or if John did this, then how would they might be different? So that was a fun game for me to play and setting it up, and then obviously being able to be one character interacting with the alternate universe character of that was always fun for me too. So.
a lot.
Okay.
A lot of this interview has been Tyler saying, "Oh yeah, I liked this," and Adam just like, "Ugh."
Adam has been with me on the board, and he plays with me the most, but he's apparently hates everything that I do. So.
Not everything.
Okay,
I
then
am
here's
your
my question to
harshest
you, Adam.
critic
What's the
because I want
storyline
you to
you
do better.
what's the storyline you actually liked?
Oh, you already asked me your question.
Oh come on, Adam.
Uh,
One.
I like the future arc.
Only because it was all about Jet.
Okay, I could say that about any of your arcs.
Somewhere about
Damn.
John or Abby. I even had some about Rick's character. I can't remember which one it was. The CM Punk character.
That never happened.
Rick O'Rourke? Rick
He had his
O'Rourke?
moments. But he had his moments.
Hey, he had his moments. He didn't have an arc about him.
No, but that started because he was his first thread. He licked things off the floor and turned into a robot.
That was a Fano.
that was a Fano. Muse
Oh,
of Doom says he hates cyborg ninjas. I think that was Tyler's fault.
wait, you hate cyborg ninjas or Adam hates cyborg ninjas? You must clarify that.
Okay.
I did hate Cyborg.
Yeah, I know
Adam,
hates.
yeah.
Hates everything.
Muse of Doom
Adam,
says Adam hated cyborg ninjas.
Yeah, but you liked Kurt Russell being there,
Yeah, I did.
and then I think I ended up using a different Kurt Russell in every art for a while, didn't I?
Yeah.
So, like I had a scientist Kurt Russell, I had a ninja Kurt Russell. Yeah, I had a
And
bunch of
that's why I started liking your arts.
because of Kurt Russell. Thanks. I'm plugging Kurt Russell. Thanks, Terry.
You did it.
I didn't get it.
And maybe Kurt Russell will see this and plug us sometime,
That'd be nice.
right?
He's a-
So did you have anything going on in your life that you might want to plug in here and maybe get people buying merch?
Well, don't have any merch right now, but in case nobody knows, I'm now a professional fighter. I get punched for a living and do some punching of my own. Um, I also run a martial arts school in Illinois. So, kind of gotten to things that I like to do. Adam always said I like to fight. I do like to fight. So now I'm around that 24/7. I run a gym, all ages, and then I just had my second pro fight last month. So, looking to fight again in March on pay per view.
Right
Sugar
on.
free.
Well, that's really cool. Thanks for joining us for this interview. I know it's about our childish fun times, but
Don't
Summer,
forget to make that shirt that says Hurricane on
the hurricane. What I see, it says the imp pimp too.
the imp pimp, the
Some of
hurricane,
it's
and
starting to
AIDS.
come back to me. I don't remember where the hurricane came from or AIDS, but I know imp pimp was because when Adam switched our powers, he then ended up having like a little imp for his powers.
it. Oh, yeah.
That became an imp pimp. But I don't know where the rest of those inside jokes came from.
I don't
But yeah, but they seem fitting regardless.
There you go.
All right, so if chat doesn't have any more questions, we'll give them a second or two. We can close this out.
Come on, guys, I'm popular. I know you have things to ask me.
Do you have any closing statements you might want to make?
Well, there's one.
Oh, there's a question. Are you going to RP again?
Well, if Lisa gets moving on that avatar board, I was trying to.
She did reply and say, "I have no idea what you're talking about."
Yeah, of course you didn't. Me and Adam were the only ones that post on that thing.
That's right.
But yeah, no, I do want to RP again. But schedule's a little difficult, so I need something that's easier for me to pop in and out on. So, and this is tooting my own horn with Paradigm, but I thought that was an easy system. So when it comes to stats, I just feel it's harder for me to pop in and out without actually gaining any real traction. But then I also can't really GM because I tried doing that last year again, and my schedule, I get busy, and then I lose interest after it's been like 2 or 3 weeks, you know. So I need something where I can just be a player and find it out. So if you're trying to recruit me, let me know.
So the Rylander says reboot paradigm then.
Didn't we do that a couple times?
He
I guess
added
That's how we got that time skip.
we time skipped it.
he added without flaking! Exclamation mark.
But see, I need someone else can reboot it for me, and then I can play on it. That's what I do.
Fuck.
Then it doesn't deflate.
The Rylander says, well, if you ever end up on Cabal in the old world stuff, I'll GM some God stuff or something for you.
I need links to these again.
All right, we'll hook you up in the after party.
We'll work on that.
But this has been the third episode of Out of In Character. I want to thank both the co-host and guest for joining us and giving me time to do this.
It was a pleasure.
It was my pleasure to pleasure you.
I'm double pleasured.
I know you sick bastard.
Tomorrow we have one more interview, and then Monday another interview. So it's going to be a long weekend, and then hopefully Thursday we'll have a break between Monday and Thursday, and we'll have another interview on Thursday. So, Tyler, if you're ever interested in coming back, just let me know. We'll have another interview, or you could be a co-host.
Sounds good to me. A quick note: I just got your other Discord messages today because I don't open it as much as I should. So
right, yeah.
always send Adam to just text me.
I have found this is a more appealing route to get a hold of you.
See how much easier it was. Yeah.
All right, that's the end of the stream, guys. Enjoy, have fun. See you next time. Please follow and like or watch this video because I need to make affiliates so I can show these people how to eat a hot dog.
He doesn't know how to eat a fucking hot dog.
I do know how to eat a fucking hot dog. Okay.
Or a sub, by the way.
One solid.
No, he eats them sideways. It's weird.
It's not sideways. It's still up and down, but I also eat a sub up and down.
What do you mean up and down? Like, are you stroking the sub or the hot dog?
so you put the shit in the sub when the cut is pointing up, right? And then you close it. Most people close it to the side. I just close it sitting up. So I eat it with the cut up, like I do a hot dog.
Well, I thought you didn't know how to eat a hot dog.
Say again?
I thought you didn't know how to eat a hot dog.
That's what they say. But it's because I eat a hot dog the same way I eat a sandwich or a sub.
Have you ever turned a sandwich to the side and eaten it?
No, I'm not eating it out.
Yeah, it's fucking weird.
You're a nasty boy, man. What?
It's not totally different, Ryan. It's the same. It's the same for me. It's the same thing. Okay.
That just sounds dirty. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's just getting in that V. It's fucking weird.
Like we hit affiliate, I'll do an eating stream, and I will prove that it's the same.
All right, I'll let you eat.
All right. We're gonna close it out now. Come back next time tomorrow, Monday and Thursday. Yeah.